to, does this tech actually work as intended? And the answer to that comes in this dice roll, and that answer is, you done fucked up, cowboy. So, yeah. Hi, guys. Sorry I've been away for so long. I know there's a big delay here. There's been a lot of stuff that I've been trying to process through with this whole thing. So it took me a little while to get to a point where I felt like I was ready to play another session, because I just had a lot to think about. If you recall from the last session, we tried something at Arnav's urging, doing an Eidolon jump with Kay interacting with the Eidolon drive intentionally, to kind of, to a certain extent, replicate and possibly shape the kind of side effect thing that had happened when we tried to jump when the Tempest was interacting with the ship previously, and we'd gotten booted halfway across the sector over to that hypergiant. And this time we tried to do a similar kind of thing with Kay interacting with the Eidolon drive, and we were left staring at a miss with a match that told us, as I so eloquently put it last time, you done fucked up, cowboy. So I've been thinking a lot about this for like a month. Usually I do one of these every week, and I've been letting time go by. Just because I kind of end up staring at the ceiling a lot of times when I start to think about it. So I apologize. Let's get into it and find out what's going on. So we had this thing. We jumped out into the middle of nowhere. We've been interacting with tech in a very strange way and trying to get this to do something, figure out something with regards to whatever it was that Arnav thought was going to happen. I'm going to say safely that whatever happened was probably not what he intended. At least I hope so. And we hit with a miss with we got a miss with the match, and I've been thinking about what to do about that to kind of reflect that systemically. I had some ideas, but what really kind of struck me is to go back, and I was looking at the various exploration moves, and one of the things, now technically this is not part of this particular move, but I don't really care. It's a good move. I haven't had a chance to use it before, and it seemed like a really good time to do it. So Confront Chaos is a move that's supposed to come up when you are exploring a waypoint at some, series of, you're jumping through Eidolon Drift to Eidolon Drift, and you decide to explore a waypoint, and the exploration of that waypoint goes horribly awry. If you get a miss with a match in that circumstance, then you are asked to confront chaos. So when your exploration of a waypoint uncovers something dreadful, decide the number of aspects, 1, 2, 3. Roll that number of times on the table, and envision how that ties together and how the encounter unfurls. Okay. So I should have waited till I forgot to hit record before I started doing this, but I rolled the confront chaos to see what would come up from that. So let's take a little peek at that, and I can do that by opening up the dice box here. We got a couple of things here, so I rolled 3 times because this seems like, for a number of different reasons. One, it was like, according to where things happen in the story, it seemed like a big deal, and this is the first time we had it, and it just seemed like the kind of thing where it should be a big thing. So just all in all, I wanted to find something that was, I wanted this to be big enough to warrant how long we had to wait. At least partly that. So what do we get under the confront cast? Vault of Dread Technology or Power. Okay, we've had a lot of what's been going on with the Wisps and the Tempests and stuff like that seem to be connected to the precursor vaults and things like that. So Vault of Dread Technology or Power. Next one, Technology Warped for Dark Purpose. That seems to be all anybody ever really wants to do with it. And finally, keep in mind, I didn't record this while I was hitting it, but this is from 4 minutes ago, so I'm still processing. Harbingers of an imminent invasion. Okay, so I'm going to paint a scene here in the hopes that kind of try to envision what we have going on, and just think about what we want to see happen at this stage. So the jump happens, and I said in the last one, I'm going to stick with this, is that the jump happens, and just as immediately almost it is done, and we're wherever we're meant to be. Or at least that's how it initially seems to Earl. The noise, the intensity of the noise of the Eidolon engines and the shouting and the stuff, we couldn't quite hear what Zeb was saying or anything like that. All that sound is really gone. It's just gone almost eerily quiet. That was Earl's initial read on things. And then he looks around and realizes that the silence is because nothing is exactly happening. Not like the lights aren't blinking on any of the consoles. K is just still extending themselves out over the engine, which is wreathed in these lights. And that stuff, the energy is kind of very slowly moving, but it's very, very slow. Arnav isn't moving, I think. Is Arnav moving? Let's find out. Is Arnav moving? Is he also... Because Earl can move. This is what I'm planning on here. I think this has something to do with what originally caused all of the amnesia stuff. I think that Arnav was connected to that. So I think that it is, let's say, likely that Arnav is also not like sort of locked in this slow time thing. And the Oracle says, you would be incorrect, sir. That is wrong. Arnav is not moving. Okay. Is anybody moving other than Earl on the ship from the people that are there? I'll say that's also likely. Let's leave it at 50-50. If Arnav's not moving, I'm not really sure who would be. So let's say there's a 50-50 chance somebody else is moving. Yes, somebody else is not affected. Is it Zeb? Yes. Earl, come to the bridge. Come to the bridge as fast as you can. Now. And Earl starts to say something. You see him and then he just runs. Like when Zeb says that all of the doors in a path from where Earl is to the bridge all open at I'm gonna say at a normal rate of speed. And Earl is moving. Harbinger of an imminent invasion. Okay. Earl kind of comes in through the door and sort of skids to a stop in a way that's very reminiscent of, say, John Crichton skidding to a stop on Moya in Farscape. It's like we're reminded that the floors are maybe unnecessarily slick, or in this case that Earl was moving at a very good rate, but he basically kind of half stumbles to a stop and shades his eyes, although it's not immediately evident why that is. Like there's an intensity to the... If this were an anime, everything would be drawn with full black and the ink would be white. Like it's a full line drawing negative almost. And let's just imagine things in that way in the bridge. Everything looks like a photo negative. Okay. There's an intensity to the light that Earl is still kind of shading himself to, and it probably matters. Like it needs to have that. But basically there's this intense source of, I'm going to say, illumination, even though again it's like a photo negative. It's an intensely black shape, sort of somewhere between a humanoid shape and a star in the multi-limbed star sense. Not like just a bright white light, but like the limbed star, kind of how like stars were drawn, like the little racing stars were drawn across the water in Howl's Moving Castle or something like that. But there's a thing splayed out there hovering in the middle of the bridge. Chattel, you have served adequately. We sense within this container that which you have been tasked to retrieve. You have brought the key that releases the vault. You have brought the collection of spirits to be made fresh servants. Your bargain for survival is complete. You will live, your spirit unsundered. Conduct the final task. Invoke your yoke of thraldom. Subjugate the spirit into bondage. Conclude your internment. For the record, it is everything I can do right now to not have Earl make some sort of snarky comment. But instead, what I'm going to do is we're going to see Earl we're going to see flashes of Earl's understanding as this thing speaks. As it talks about this arrangement that was struck, we see that Earl, still like face pale and possibly maybe eyebrows frosted or something like that from like a cryo sleep or a med bay type of thing, staggering out of this, being pulled, actually being ejected almost from a med bay, and like coughing and retching on the floor of in the ship. And this same one of these creatures, like, this light bearing down on him, some kind of, we see him remembering that he was in this scene, in this type of situation before, and this agreement, and that he was tasked somehow to do things. And we see all of his, not all, but much of his actions throughout everything that we've seen from him falling in accordance with this agreement that he came to, or this bargain that he cut in exchange for survival, continuance, something like that. Find a wisp, find a wraith, bring it here, bring wisps, and have them be whatever. Construct for this wraith a yoke of bondage. And we see a flash of him making the suit and making adjustments and adding some stuff on there that he tests by flipping on and then kind of flips off again, and just a completely deadpan, just dead-eyed look at that point in time, like he's not really there. He's doing that part on autopilot. He hasn't, all of these things that he's done, we see as a result of one event. Somehow Earl was on the Zebulon Harding. Probably he was rescued from the Cerritos Tribute as the lone survivor. For whatever reason, they were maybe connected. They were probably connected. And they saw the Mayday. They came, but everyone else on the ship was dead, and they retrieved Earl. Not sure what to do with him. So he's on the ship when Zebulon Harding is brought to the grave. Remember the grave? So it's this planet with the big precursor vault over it and all the dead ships. And we see Meridian ship coming out of Eidolon Drift, and the Zebulon is there. And rather than engaging in fire or fleeing or anything like that, they greet one another because they were in some kind of arrangement with one another. We also see lurking there. Yeah. Then we also see lurking there Freya's Wrath, like in amongst all the dead ships, and Arnav is on that ship and watching all of this and drifting ever closer. And all that happened here with coming in closer to the vault and Kay in their cage becoming more and more agitated the closer they get to the vault, and them knowing that they need to let him out, releasing him, thinking that they have a means of controlling him, and everything goes sideways. There's a massive pulse of energy, the ship's red lights going everywhere, and some kind of they're all shouting each other. We don't see the sound, we just see they're making, you see them shouting, but we're not hearing anything that they're saying because it's this silence of space kind of thing. And in order to get away, they jump. But Kay's massive energy signature, now they're out in space, is still there, and they're freaking out. And they really have no memory of this clearly either. And that interaction, possibly also calling in, like maybe two tempests show up right at that same time. And so when the ships jump, they all are additionally activated by the energy of the Wraith and the energy of the Tempest. They all just fire off in different directions. That's the first time Meridian knows that would happen. Zebulon, and who knows what happened to the Meridian ship. I have some thoughts. But what we see is the crew in a similar situation as this, and them all, like there's this energy creature, and they're all shouting, and they're all like brandishing weapons, and they're all doing stuff, and then the creature gestures, and they're all gone. Not sure what the special effects on that are, but I'm assuming that light is fairly permanent, or it seems as though it's a permanent thing. But they I'm going to say that they waver, kind of, and then they are just not there. We see then this thing in front of the med bay pod, and again, a kind of a movement, and Earl being ejected out onto the floor in front of this thing. And we see Earl remembering this, that in a way everything that he's done has been at the behest of this thing or these things or whatever this is. They keep saying we, so that he bring Kay here, that he bring the Wisps here to unlock a vault. Again, to unlock a vault. Earl kind of is still shading his eyes, and he kind of looks sideways past that and out through the viewport, and there's nothing out there. They're still functionally in the drift, but again, the drift is sort of frozen. Wherever they are, wherever they're going, it's someplace else entirely. Now we're gonna have Earl say something here because things are happening. So you'll have to forgive me, or not, I guess, but you need to understand, I don't recall any of this conversation, so I'm still catching up. Do you understand what I'm saying? We comprehend your mind. All right, that's not remotely disturbing. So, listen, the situation, if I understand things correctly, and I'm still kind of shading my eyes, is you need a vault open? Really? I mean, some of the most petty organizations all throughout the sector have been trying to get their hands on K just to open up old precursor vaults. And you're telling me that something like you want to get into some treasure trove and get old technology from the precursors? That's what all this is about? We do not wish to open and enter some physical storage. We must open our own vault. We must be free. Let me see if I understand things correctly. You're locked in a space? How can you... Are we there now? You exist both within and without. You cannot fully enter, nor can we leave. But in this time and place, the membrane may be permeated, and the membrane may be slit with the power of the spirit that you can enthrall. So I'm gonna try to get some more information here, but I feel as though this is an incredibly dangerous thing to do. So what Earl is gonna do first is face danger. I'm gonna go with Shadow, I guess, probably. I guess it depends on how I take this. I'm gonna go with trickery. What he says is, with all due respect, you are the most powerful being I have ever encountered. Walking away, number one on the list. What could possibly... How did you come to this place? I don't even fully understand. And we're going to go with... Because what I'm really trying to do is figure out what the hell happened to him. I'm not going to... Bonus there. And we're rolling our face danger. And that is a strong hit. On the strong hit, you're successful. You can take +1 momentum. So I'm facing danger. I get away with asking the question. And what I am doing... Am I securing advantage or gathering information? I'm asking a question. You discover something helpful or specific. Secure an advantage. Attempt to gain leverage. Make preparations. Assess the situation. The problem that I often run into a little bit is assess the situation and analyze and ask questions and stuff like that. They're very close to one another, right? So I think I'm gathering information. Securing advantage, I feel like it's kind of like, is the thing you're asking and trying to figure out going to give you a concrete material thing that represents the advantage that you've secured? Or did you just find stuff out? And if the answer is you just found stuff out, then I'm going to gather information. So, what happened? How did you come to this place? Tell me. Do tell me. Weak hit. Freaking rolled a 10. On the challenge dice, but I still got a decent enough roll that I got a weak hit. So on a weak hit, the information provides new insight, but also complicates your quest. Well, that's not hard to imagine. We came into your realm through many entrances. In almost all, we were unopposed. In every heart, we were welcomed. No defenses were erected against us. None could stand. Except here? The creatures who dwelt within this heart. I'm sorry, this heart? Your mind thinks of it as a galaxy. Okay, so the creatures that dwelt within this galaxy put together some kind of trap for you? They isolated us, and to make it impossible for us to reach them, they removed themselves from this heart. So the precursors trapped y'all and just left? Had they not done so, we could have found a way through them. All these other hearts, though, you came through to them. I mean, my people came from another heart. We didn't have... And that's about as far as Earl gets before he remembers or really kind of realizes what he's saying. Because all of humanity fled their home galaxy and came to the Forge as the one lone point of light that was still not being swallowed up in the great cataclysm that drove them all away. And I'm really hoping, I need to go back and look. I'm really hoping that as I go and look at my truths for the setting, that I've got a truth for what happened during the cataclysm that actually lines up for this. It would be really stupid if I didn't. Let's find out. Interdimensional entities invaded our reality. World-eating abominations of unimaginable scale. Hot fucking damn. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are cooking with gas. So the Exodus fleet set off on this ponderous journey to a new home outside of our galaxy, and the world behind them was essentially swallowed whole. The place that they were heading to did not likewise fall because the precursors set a fucking trap for these things and locked them away. This is the same thing that was coming everywhere else, but here the precursors figured out how to stop it. And Earl bumped into the goddamn things. We recognized the energy signature of a creature that could free us, wreathed about your craft, and directed you to retrieve it for us. So yeah, basically the Zebulon Harding got blasted into weird some kind of liminal space. A liminal space between regular space and wherever the hell these things got locked away from, and they sensed the residual energy of something that could, well, actually it's probably this residual energy that made them able to reach out to the thing even to this point, because it weakened that separation enough at least for them to project forward. So they want and just one more question. You said I have met the requirement. Did I make some sort of deal with y'all? Did Zeb? Because I can't help it. Zeb, you've been very quiet. Do you remember any of this? I still have no memory of these events, Earl, but they align with what we do know, up to a point. The events that led. All right. We do not interact with the electrical impulses of a machine. Well, that's your mistake. But you didn't really answer my question. Did we come to some sort of agreement? Did we shake hands on it? Anything? We enacted you as our thrall. Did you know? All right. So then you sent me off all unbeknownst to take care of all this. Did you do this with anybody else? 3. You want to go into any more detail there? 3 creatures. 3 of your kind came within our reach. 3 we touched. 3 bent to our will. Another is with you on this craft. Well, that'd be Arnav. So you're saying, I mean, I don't want to disparage. But what you're saying is you basically took us over and put some kind of compulsion into our minds to get us to do these things. Is that about right? Thralls cannot think for themselves. Thralls must be directed. We embedded the direction within you, and we will do so again now. Yoke that spirit and bring the thrall to us. As you wish. Zeb starts to say something. As you wish. Y'all just wait right here. I'll go get Kay. And I'm going to head back, and as soon as I get out of there. And Zeb is following. I said, no. And all the way along, like following me, like from speaker to speaker, basically as well. It's like, Earl, you can't. With it. Zeb, you heard what happened. You heard what they can do. You heard what they have done. I remember at least a part of what was done to the crew that didn't agree with them. We don't really have much choice. We got one thing we can do. Just the one. And once that's taken care of, well, then we'll see what's next. But really, we just have to take care of the next step. This thing is this high being has laid things out for us just about as clearly as we can do. And we absolutely need to do what is required. You know me, Zeb. You know that in a situation like this, I'm gonna do what is required. Of course, Earl. Of course. I'm sorry that I questioned you. It's all right, Zeb. Just, be ready for the next thing. So, I'm going to go back in, and we're stepping back into this thing that is still slowly unfurling around us, and in the engine room with all the energy still, the flow, kind of the slow flow of the energy over the E drive and everything. And am I going to look at my assets, possibly? All right. So I'm going to go down, and I'm going to position myself next to K. And I'm going to reach over, and I'm going to kind of pull a tab, and pull open this like sort of metal plate thing that's on this. Where? I gotta get a picture of K up here. Where is my good friend? Let's get them up here. So K is here inside this thing, and we got this sort of plate thing on the front, and I'm gonna pull kind of a tab and flip that thing open, and inside we see the device that we saw Earl cobbling together with his dead face, like with his dead eyes and everything. And I kind of turn my head and kind of look at it. Yeah, all right. Okay. And we see him reach in there, and I pull one wire loose, I pull another wire loose, I plug the one down below, I plug the one up and above, and then I flip the switch. And we will turn back to Earl's page, where I first built the suit that houses K. Face danger to assemble or enhance a device for a powerful but limited role. On a hit, the device is ready for use. One time only. When you or an ally make a move aided by this device, take an automatic strong hit. If you are in a fight, also mark progress, which is not going to come up, hopefully. But what I am going to do is I am going to make the move for undertake an expedition. And I am going to, basically, I'm just going to take a strong hit. On a strong hit, you reach a waypoint. Envision the location and mark progress according to the rank of the expedition. Well then, I'm going to take an automatic strong hit on this, and what I am doing to do this is I am essentially using the yoke that was built into the suit unconsciously by Earl when he built this thing for K in the first place. Except it's not a yoke in this case. It's not capturing him or anything. It is simply isolating his power signature 100% away from the rest of the ship. It's cutting him off from the E drive. It is cutting off that energy signature that is allowing this creature to reach us and allowing the ship to do this strange Eidolon drift, empowered Eidolon drift, and cutting that away and just hoping that that Zeb is ready to deal with the ship as it comes out. And because Kay and I came to an understanding in the hallway, in the passageway as we were talking, that you know what I have to do in a situation like this, which is of course to take care of Kay. And I told Zeb to be ready. Zeb was ready, and as soon as that extra power happened, and essentially the power was cut to the Eidolon drive for all intents and purposes, or greatly reduced, Zeb was ready to take over and continue to control the ship. And we drop out of the space, this liminal space, in which this creature from beyond space and time can reach us. Easily reach us. Envision a waypoint. All right, so we're going to immediately, so we feel the ship basically, it's a really weird situation where the ship seems to both slow down and everything in the space speeds up to a normal speed again. So it slows down, but it's almost as though Earl slowed down into, I like that actually. So Earl at the rate that we've been seeing him slows down, like down to where he's at the same speed as everybody else. Now everything is normal again. And we're coming back to ourselves and coming back into a normal drift. And there's a number of warning lights going up, but Zeb is like, "Oh, Earl, I'm going to pull us out of the drift as fast as possible. Is everyone all right down there?" And Arnav is blinking, and honestly, even like Fidget is still kind of in mid-protest about this whole thing. And Kay is kind of left looking at their hands like what happened? I can't hear. I almost can't hear anything. Earl? And the thing, and it's the suit is just like that. I'll explain in just a. Zeb, where are we? All right, so we're gonna go to the oracles. We're not in Terminus. We're not in Outlands. We're in the Expanse. We're out on the very edges of space. I think we are not currently in the Moor Empire. I don't think. And we're going to roll on the expanse and see what we see. That is a creature. Of course it is, because that's what I needed right now. That is a creature. Neat. We already know it's in space. Scale. Vehicle-sized. Basic form. Some sort of beast or mammal. The basic form is beast or a mammal. Antenna or sensory organs. Energy emissions. What? Encounter behavior herder. We see we see first space with these like almost like, I'm gonna say kind of like space moths. So real feathery antennas, but sort of like space moths plus jellyfish. Okay? And they're undulating along, and there's a great big pack of them, and they're just kind of going. And then we see the Zebulon kind of come out of the drift right just at them, and kind of somewhat in a tumble, but immediately starting to right itself. But it's like, Earl, there's something there's creatures here. There's a herd of a flock of, there's an undulation of creatures. An undulate? What is an undulate? Okay. And the flock, the thing reacts to this sudden appearance of the ship, which otherwise appears to be, there's no planets anywhere nearby. There's no stars immediately nearby. There's just these things. And they react in a herd fashion. Like if you've ever seen sheep moving across a hillside as a dog comes at them and stuff, it's almost like a murmuration of sparrows or anything like that. They kind of fold a little bit, but they kind of fold back and create a space for the ship. But then all along the front line of the edge that had pulled back away from the ship, all along that front line, you see this flickering of energy. And this is space. Space is big. This is a long line. And then you see this flickering of energy as they turn and kind of like their antennas come up and they like point towards Earl, and they're flickering and the energy is building up, and they say, Earl, I think they're going to do something. And that's where we're going to stop. Because frying pan, fire. No. And this was a strong hit. Whatever. But you know what? I'm fine with it. Let's get a little bit of weirdness here going. Okay. So, folks, I think we have a lot more answers than we originally did. We know kind of what happened with the Zebulon Harding early on. We know that basically the Zebulon Harding was in the crew, which was with Jeffries Vega. Jeffries Vega has been in cahoots with Meridian for a while. We kind of knew that. Arnav was watching them. I think probably... Oh my god! That's why he left Lagrange, because he was working for the fucking black stars. Dark stars? What should we call these things? These dark creatures from beyond space and time. Black stars? Dark stars? Whatever. Something. We need something. He was part of the compulsion, so he went off on his own freaking thing so he could start that's why he was going after the freaking suitcase, and that's why he was collecting all the things, all those wisp things, and using them. That's what pulled him away from Lagrange. But why did Lagrange want to use these things? Who was the third one that they brought into the freaking circle on this thing? And only one of them was on the ship here, so there was one that wasn't. Was it one of the Meridian people? It must have been one of the Meridian people. What was Lagrange doing with it? So anyway, they're all meeting. Shit goes sideways when they try to use K to get into the vault. K panics, big energy signature. A couple other Tempests show up, and the ships get thrown hither and thither and run afoul of these things. Dark matter things from outside space and time. I need a good name. I gotta think about this. They compel Earl and Arnav and mystery player number 3 to move at their behest to find the thing that would free them and bring them fully into the forge. And Earl does. Arnav does. They work together to do the thing. And having done the thing, Earl fucks it up on purpose for them and runs. Now what? Okay. All right, folks. Things are coming to a head now. Gotta figure out what's going to be happening now. But first we have to figure out where the hell we are, because I have rolled that we're somewhere out in the expanse, which is nowhere near More Empire. We're in some other sector. Right now we're out. I'm just having us be out in empty space somewhere. So who the hell knows? But we are out far away from everything and need to figure out probably how to get back, without exposing ourselves to these things again, and then how to stop them, or at least continue to have them be trapped. Knowing that, God damn it, there's a Meridian guy out there, or somebody who is going to continue to be working towards this, and no wonder they're going after the fucking wisps over and over again. Of course they are. I mean, on the one hand, I'm incensed. On the other hand, it all makes so much sense, and I'm fucking thrilled. Like it all. Under my progress, I'm going to give myself a little tick box on my vows for find out what happened with the crew of the Zebulon Harding. We'll mark that one again. I kind of want to fulfill that one, but it says get justice for. I can keep working on this, actually. I can get justice for this because that means doing something. I now know how to do it. Holy shit! Like, if I can stop these things, they were wiped out because, I mean, to be fair, I'm a little bit less invested in getting justice for them because I know they were just, I know now that they were just like fuckos working with Meridian Station, but by God, that was my vow and I'm going to stick to it. I will at least get justice for them. I'm really not sure about this retrieving Paladin and bringing him back to Lagrange Station, but maybe now that he knows what's going on and he's not going to fight that so bad. Man, I don't even know what to say. I'm kind of blown away by a lot of this. All right, folks. Thank you for your patience. I know it's been a couple of weeks, and I apologize for that. We will continue with this apace. I've got a little bit more time right now. Things have been a little bit nuts. I've got a half marathon trail run thing up in Yellowstone that I've been training for, and then my wife has been traveling a ton for work. This time of year, she does a lot of book fairs and stuff like that. She has to go publishing meetings and stuff like that. So this is it's not an excuse. It's been very busy. I've been doing a lot of solo dad stuff, which I really love, but it doesn't leave me with a lot of spoons left in the drawer by the end of the day when I can sit around and do this. So she's back and she's feeling healthy again after she got kind of sick from her trip. And well, here we are again. So again, so much. Thank you for your patience, and honestly, thank you, because this month has been a little bit kind of frustrating. And about every time that I start to get just like, I don't even know I don't even know when I'm going to get back to this thing or whether, you know what happened? I got a comment from somebody. Somebody, it wasn't always the same. Obviously, it wasn't always the same person, but I got comments from people who were getting caught up on the thing. Sean Wolf, thank you. So many comments. Dingoes, of course. Seamus, Steven Ziprick, Josh Man, with your comments on here. Just, they continue to come in. They continue to strengthen my resolve to get back to this. Thank you. So we're heading up to some kind of big conclusion here. Not exactly sure what I'm going to be doing next, but I think it's probably, I'm going to continue to do whatever other games I end up running. And I might end up actually, going back and GMing a group thing again. But I think no matter what happens, I'm going to continue to do some kind of solo thing. Probably won't be Starforged right now. I've certainly gotten a good stretch on this. If I did another Starforged thing, I'd probably want to do it as a group. I do have a copy of the One Ring over here. And I am a Tolkien nerd of the First Water. And I heard that there is a little expansion booklet that you can get that gives you guidelines on how to do the One Ring as a solo game. Written by, I don't know, this one guy. I don't know if you've heard of him. Sean Tompkin wrote it. If you've never heard of him, you should check out his other stuff. It's really good. So yeah, Sean's got this write-up that I think he did with that company that how to do solo play using the One Ring. Like they call it Strider mode, which I love. So maybe that. But let's not talk about next right now. Let's talk about this awesomeness that we have over here as we try to figure out what the heck is going to be happening with Earl next, and what we're going to do to truly, finally, I think, figure out a way to get Kay safe. Not sure what that's going to look like, but I imagine there's going to involve some explosions. So anyway, once again, and as always, and forever, thank you all. Cannot do this, honestly, without the motivation that y'all bring to the table for me, and with all your interaction and stuff like that. Tell me what we're going to call these, like, black starry things from beyond space and time. Or at least throw some ideas out there so we can argue about it. Thank you all, and I'll talk to you soon.